From the Cronkite studios in downtown Phoenix, this is Cronkite News.
Welcome to this Cronkite News special. I'm Cassie Rhonda. Thanks for joining us. Our Cronkite News reporters strive to make an impact in covering education in Arizona. Tonight, a look at challenges facing schools across Arizona and the creative ways teachers are finding solutions and inspiring children in the classroom.
An Arizona high schooler senior landed a perfect score on the ACT college admissions test, and it was only her second time taking it. Cronkite News reporter Alicia Gonzalez tells us just how rare that is.
Most of the college students in this room had to take either the ACT or the SAT college admissions test just to get here. Some may have taken a few practice courses, and some may have just winged it. I met with one Arizona high school student who pretty much did just that.
I looked at it, and I guess to me it still hasn't hit me as exceptional yet. I just saw it and I was like, oh, okay, cool, 36.
Although the big 36 may not sound like a big deal to Ruth Oliver, she's part of a very small percentage of students.
Less than 0.1% of students who take the ACT achieve a 36 composite score, and that's very, very consistent from year to year.
According to ACT research, over 36,000 Arizona students took the ACT last academic year, and only 24 earned perfect scores.
Like, the teachers want you to do good, but at the same time, they want you to be enjoying yourself.
Oliver says it's her regular schooling that prepared her for the test, not any specific prep books or courses. Apparently, that's not unusual.
You'd be surprised how many students take the ACT, and when they're surveyed about, hey, what'd you do, in terms of prep, the answer is absolutely nothing. I mean, they didn't even crack open a practice test to see what it was going to look like. I mean, it's hard to believe, but a high percentage of students go in cold.
Oliver's teacher says she can thank her natural curiosity for the score.
One really cool thing about Ruth is that she is really happy as she does her work. She's, ooh, that's interesting. Oh, I wonder why this.
I always find something in each worksheet or project we do, one thing that makes it exciting, or try and make it different, or make it your own.
If you are actually going to take the time to prepare for the test, the best thing to do is at least look at a practice test. That way you're comfortable with the format and you'll be much more comfortable during the actual test. In the First Amendment Forum, Alicia Gonzalez, Cronkite News.
Doctors are now prescribing more Elmo and less YouTube. New research from the American Academy of Pediatrics announced changes to its recommendation for screen time. And Cronkite News reporter Alicia Gonzalez shares a new viewing option for Arizona families.
The research shows well-designed media that parents and children can watch together could be a new tool for learning and even social interaction. To help that effort, Arizona PBS announced today they're launching a new channel, bringing 24/7 free educational programs to your home. The PBS Kids Channel will launch on 8.4 in January. The new shows are aimed at preschool through early elementary age children in efforts to develop a stronger educational foundation for them. And because it's free over the air, it aims to help children in economically disadvantaged area.
So these are really poor families that can't afford Netflix, they can't afford broadband internet access, they can't afford anything else, and we're the only channel that they can access for their kids to have good educational and fun educational content.
It allows kids to watch good programs in the evenings when they're out and about and probably getting in trouble sometimes, or parents may not be at home. It allows caregivers to keep them entertained, perhaps with something which is a little more healthy for them.
The AAP research shows, though, that parents should be the primary source of education in their children's lives, with technology as a learning partner. In the control room, Alicia Gonzalez, Cronkite News.
A major change to next year's FAFSA means soon-to-be college students can apply for federal aid earlier. Students at Central High School had the opportunity to attend a FAFSA Fiesta today in hopes of bringing college into reach.
And the FAFSA, and a survey at the end of it. So those are your 3 goals for today.
Senior Terry Gardner already received a track scholarship from Michigan State University, but he also has his eyes set on the criminal justice program at Rutgers. To help get him there, he's joining the party and filling out his FAFSA.
Growing up now, not everybody can afford college. If they can get the FAFSA, to definitely help them go to college.
Parents and students at Central High School spent their afternoon at a FAFSA Fiesta to encourage current seniors to apply for college. The event has been around for 3 years, but needed a more festive atmosphere to boost interest.
A lot of our families, college might not be at the forefront of their mind. It might not be their biggest priority. And so if the students can get some help financially to go to college, a lot easier for those families, and maybe college becomes a bigger deal.
Starting in the 2017-2018 school year, students will be able to submit a FAFSA in October, 3 months earlier than this year, and they will also be asked for income information from the previous tax year instead of the upcoming year. Grand Canyon University admissions counselor Stephen Valdez says events like this keep students informed about their opportunities.
Me, I didn't have anybody helping me out, so GCU understands building relationships, and through that, being able to accomplish things such as the FAFSA, and not just that, but college applications.
Although Gardner doesn't plan to apply to GCU, he recognizes the importance of seizing every opportunity and, most of all, knowledge.
Give them more opportunities to go further in life and do what they want to do.
FAFSA says these changes will help line up the financial aid application with the college application process, eliminate the need for parents and students to predict future income, and will allow students more time to apply for aid.
Native Americans have been fighting to control their own future after centuries of forced education. Cronkite News' Claire Caulfield was at the White House for the signing of a historic agreement that helps many Navajo students achieve that dream.
This signing ceremony with the U.S. Departments of Education and Interior ensures the Navajo Nation, for the first time, will be in charge of most of their schools in Arizona, New Mexico, and Utah.
You're not dealing with the complexities of 3 different states and 3 different sets of rules as you take on how to instill a great education in your children who will be sitting in your chairs in the future.
All 66 schools funded by the Bureau of Indian Education will now be able to establish a single system of standards, assessments, and accountability.
We've been wanting to do this for quite a number of years because we have the capacity to become a state-level education system, and that is our goal, to be able to move forward, and this will help us move even more further ahead in making that happen.
Navajo leaders say the agreement allows the schools to focus on their language, culture, and traditions. They say this helps make amends for the years when students were punished for speaking Navajo.
When I went to school, we were prohibited from speaking our language. They brought different types of punishment: squirting soap in your mouth, hitting your palms, standing against a wall for an hour or more. Our children will not have to go through that.
The White House also announced $25 million to support Native youth and educators. Northern Arizona University and the University of Arizona will receive almost $400,000 to support Native students in professional development. The Gila River and Quechan Indian communities will receive over $1 million to support their Native youth. In Washington, D.C., Claire Caulfield, Cronkite News.
Higher school grades may be related to how involved parents are at their child's school. The Center for Public Education found 2/3 of teachers surveyed want to see more parent participation. Jesse Canales tells us what parent involvement in education means and what the impact could be.
Parents I spoke with say once they got involved in your child's school, it created a community feeling. They say their kids appreciated that and it made them more excited to learn. Learning starts in the classroom, but it does not need to end there. Some teachers say learning at home is just as important as learning in school.
Parent involvement is the #1 way to move your students' achievement.
A form of parent involvement is reading with your children, attending school events, or helping them with homework. Anna Dodge, a mother of 6 children, says she saw a huge improvement from one of her son's grades once she became involved.
He went from basically C's to A's and B's.
Dodge says what motivates her to get involved is the lack of involvement from her parents.
I think had they been, it really would have changed the way I was in school. I wasn't the best student, and I want my children to be what I wasn't.
But some parents say getting other parents to attend school events is more complicated than expected.
The other night where they were teaching the parents
how to help your child with homework, and there was 28 families that showed up out of 796 students that we have total. I was disappointed there.
Parent involvement is also important in checking that homework is done and turned in. Dodge says parents shouldn't learn about those zeros just when the report card comes out.
I check their grades 2 to 3 times a week. If they have missing assignments, I print them out, the list. I make them take it to their teacher, get those missing assignments, have their teacher sign off that they brought that to them, and bring it back to me.
If you don't have time to talk with teachers, you can use several free apps like Parent Student Portal, available for Apple iOS and Android, which can help parents see what tests are coming up, how their kids are doing, and if they truly did their homework.
Teacher Zillow said, with more parent involvement, do not only expect higher student grades, but higher school letter grades as well. In the Broadcast Center, Jessica Canales, Cronkite News.
Hi, I'm Judy Woodruff, co-anchor of the PBS NewsHour. Preparing the next generation of journalists has never been more important than it is now. With its groundbreaking partnership with Arizona PBS, the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communication at ASU is revolutionizing journalism education to provide students with a real opportunity to work and learn under the supervision of veteran journalists, producers, directors, and editors on newscasts, investigative stories, and documentary productions. The Cronkite School and Arizona PBS, reinventing journalism education in the digital age.
Some of Arizona's legislators and education advocates united today at the Power of K breakfast to emphasize and discuss the benefits of full-day kindergarten. As reporter Veronica Acosta tells us, there are some powerful people behind this movement.
The day of snacks and naps during kindergarten are no more. It's become a new first grade. However, state funding cuts made back in 2011 for full-day kindergarten have undermined this, something policymakers and education advocates are looking to change.
We are here today with one common goal, and that is to bring the words opportunity to all to life for all of Arizona's children.
Governor Doug Ducey, ASU President Michael Crow, and 2 superintendents spoke about making free full-day kindergarten throughout the state a possibility and a priority.
If we don't change our mindset and realize that the single most important thing is investment in lifelong education from the earliest possible point through a person's life, including all-day kindergarten, we are literally fools.
Currently, Arizona funds half-day kindergarten, which is 2.5 hours, but does not fund full-day kindergarten, which is 6 hours.
It is critical to afford them that additional extended time of learning so they can be more successful.
In order to support full-day kindergarten programs, some school districts have had no choice but to get creative in the way they get their funding for this program.
In our district, we were able to implement it by asking the local citizens to an additional tax called the Maintenance and Operations Override Tax if they believe in full-day kindergarten and other programs like RPE, BAND, and they decided in my district that yes, it was important, so they would pay for it, but every 5 to 7 years they have to go back and ask them again if they want to continue to pay that tax.
Parental involvement also plays a part in implementing full-day kindergarten throughout Arizona schools.
Very important that the parents get the support and the tracking and the feedback that the teachers will be able to do when they have their children for longer periods of time.
Some parents who have children attending schools that only offer half-day kindergarten for free do have the option to pay for the remainder of the day. However, this is something many families just cannot afford. In the Broadcast Center, Veronica Acosta, Cronkite News.
There's a renewed goal for young Arizonans. Get a degree or a certificate and get a great job. Governor Doug Ducey and 60 community organizations invested in recent high school graduates, encouraging them to return to secondary schools. Jessica Canales tells us what financial payoff they expect Arizona to receive from their investment.
The group Achieve 60 AZ says less than half of 25-year-old or older Arizonans have a certificate or a college degree. Governor Ducey wants to get that number to 60% by 2030.
But we must do more to make certain that the children of Arizona can achieve their full potential.
And with more than 70% of future careers requiring secondary education, Governor Doug Ducey wants to make sure students are prepared for those jobs. He and the group Achieve 60 AZ held a news conference at the Franklin Police and Fire High School. One of their main messages: get more Latinos and Native Americans into secondary schools and the workforce.
The importance of an education is more than just my generation. The importance of me eventually going back home to Gallup, New Mexico and helping my people.
Governor Ducey says he does not only want to get millennials into colleges like ASU, but he wants to lure them into more skilled trade jobs and bridge Arizona's labor shortage gap.
For whatever reason in the past, we had this idea that everyone was going to go to college and have a white-collar job. Well, that's just not the case. That's just not accurate or true.
With private schools like ITT Tech closing, there is some skepticism whether attending another private school like UTI would benefit recent graduates.
4 out of 5 of our graduates working out in the industry. 63% completion rate of students who start our program. That's comparable to four-year universities and outperforms two-year colleges.
Cornelius Maxwell, a military veteran, says students benefit from hands-on learning taught at trade schools.
They want to get a feel for it. They see it, they can do it.
Achieve 60 AZ says if they reach their goal of 60% of working age adults receiving a certificate or college degree, they expect a $3.5 billion increase in personal income and state funding. It is unclear where money to fund the program will come from. As of now, people have only donated their time, but discussions to fund and sustain the program are expected to continue for several weeks. Jesse Canales, Cronkite News.
Today's vocational education programs aren't the same as when your grandparents were in school. They now have a new name and new improvements. Cronkite News reporter Alicia Gonzalez tells us what else comes with that new title.
I attended some of the classes out at Peoria High School. I was surprised to find out just how advanced some of these high schoolers were. I was expecting hammers and nails, but I was met with so much more.
Schools have transformed vocational education programs into career and technical education programs, or CTEs for short. Students from all over the district come to the Peoria High School campus to learn medical, engineering, and technical skills.
I have a passion in technology. I've always been interested by how things work. It just intrigued me, and I've been driven to kind of discover more about those ever since.
Peoria Unified Superintendent Dr. Darwin Stifler said the programs are designed to close the skills gap for graduating students entering the workforce.
We have this intricate web, and I mean that in the very most positive way, of advisory councils that has educators and business people and government leaders to decide which of the programs we need to offer.
Other programs offered from around the district include culinary, early childcare, aircraft maintenance, and a long list of others. High school students are attending vocational ed programs like this one, and they're using 3D glasses and Z-space monitors like this one to dissect different parts of the human body for their medical careers after they graduate high school. Students in engineering and technical programs use 3D printers and other high-tech equipment like this, while certified instructors provide help along the way.
The students inspire me with their ideas, their energy. Some of the ideas come from a very different educational background, but those outrageous ideas, to see them grow into a reality is just a wonderful thing to see.
Instructors are certified to teach college-level courses, so these students can earn dual enrollment at the same time.
There are students within our programs who graduate from high school, and they also already have 2 years of college done.
Dr. Stifler said Peoria Unified is the leader in CTE programs, but can see that it's rapidly expanding throughout other Arizona school districts. Some classes cost money if you're earning the dual enrollment college credits, but some are free if you take them right at your high school. Live in the First Amendment Forum, Alicia Gonzalez, Cronkite News.
4 Glendale schools will be sharing campuses after safety concerns forced 2 elementary schools to make structural repairs. Jesse Canales tells us the impact on students and parents.
Why then was the school day allowed to continue unabated at that point?
Landmark and Challenger elementary schools are making necessary repairs costing over $2 million after engineers found the walls were unstable. Both schools were constructed by the same contractor.
Foundations appeared to be compromised.
The superintendent met with the engineers on Friday.
Can you guarantee that the buildings are safe to be occupied? He told me he could not.
They alerted parents and teachers on Saturday to let them know schools would be closed for repairs.
Made us a bit angry, you know.
because it was just, they should have found out like in the summertime, you know, when they had time, when the kids were on vacation.
We acted as quickly, as soon as we found out, we acted as quickly as possible.
The repairs will result in some changes to the school schedules. All 4 schools will now be split into half days. Some will start around 6 in the morning and others closer to noon. School buses will drop off students to their new schools.
Staff will be available to help transport children.
Some parents aren't happy with the changes.
It's going to be a stressful time for the kids. You know, they are accustomed to the, 6-7 hours of school time, and now they're going to cut it down to 4 hours.
In order to fit all the English and math courses within those 4 hours, GESD will cut programs like art, music, and PE and make them after-school enrichment classes. Some parents say with the new changes, they're considering switching schools.
I don't think it's appropriate for the kids, and I don't think it's fair.
Repairs are expected to begin next week and take 20 to 25 school days. From Phoenix, Jesse Canales, Cronkite News.
District officials say the repairs are a temporary solution, and they would like to build new schools in the future, but state budget cuts limit their availability.
The A through F school letter grade accountability system is currently on hold, and the state school board is making changes to how some schools' performances will be measured. Jesse Canales tells us what changes teachers would like to see to benefit their students.
One change some teachers would like to see is a bigger focus on college readiness and less attention to standardized testing.
School letter grade accountability system places the majority of the emphasis on AZ merit scores.
It's so important for the school financially, and the teachers feel that burden.
Heritage Elementary principal Justin Dye was one of the few principals in favor of the A to F system, but believes putting the majority of the focus on standardized tests does not fully capture what teachers actually do.
They don't want one test to determine whether they were successful or not, because there's so many other ways to build students.
Although teachers and administrators say schools should be held accountable for student grades, they say it should not all come down to one test.
It's kind of sad that education has turned to more of teaching to the test instead of teaching to lifelong learners and students.
Starting next year, district and charter schools can choose from other standardized tests, but schools with a D or F grades must use the AZ merit. Vice President of the Arizona State Board of Education, Tim Carter, proposed a new conceptual design, adding new factors separate from standardized tests when grading schools.
I'm recommending that we add 15% for career readiness, which is brand new, and 15% for college.
An ad hoc committee made up of parents, state board members, and school representatives will determine how the finalized conceptual plan will be used and what other standardized tests qualify.
The vote for the A to F conceptual plan will take place on the September 26th State School Board meeting. It is open to the public, and parents are encouraged to provide feedback. In the Broadcast Center, Jessica Canales, Cronkite News.
The Senate Committee on Indian Affairs gave the green light to a bill expanding education savings accounts to students at Native American schools. Cronkite News reporter Claire Caulfield was in Washington, D.C. and saw the drama unfold.
Senator McCain's bill could make 12,000 Native American students in Arizona eligible for education savings accounts. But McCain and Senator John Tester of Montana had a heated debate on Wednesday over what that expansion might mean.
But I do not believe in any program that would divert public education funds to private entities with limited accountability.
The Native American Education Opportunity Act would transfer 90% of what would have gone to that student's tribal school to an independent account managed by the student's family. These funds can be used for educational expenses, ranging from tuition at a private school to textbooks.
We're going to today consider a bill that would create a separate line item to subsidize the voucher plans of a handful of states at the expense of tribal schools across this country.
A passionate McCain defended the bill, saying the condition at schools run by the Bureau of Indian Education are too dire to ignore.
This is really a simple vote. You want the status quo? You want the situation as it is today? Or do you want to try to give these kids a choice, which obviously the Senator from Montana does not want?
In the end, McCain won a narrow victory.
Clerk will report.
The ayes are 7, the nays are 6.
The bill now moves to the full Senate, but it's a race against the clock. There are only 40 workdays left in this session, and there is currently no related bill in the House. Grand Canyon University is helping student entrepreneurs, and the projects are meant to benefit more than just the students. Danielle Kernkamp took a closer look on how the community is changing.
GCU has started to fund a couple of startup businesses with plans to improve the area that the university resides in. West Phoenix is home to Grand Canyon University. The school has been around for nearly 70 years, but has recently started up new business ventures for graduates. However, these enterprises are not just for the students.
Because when they leave here and they go off, they'll have in their mind that the level of poverty that exists in this neighborhood doesn't need to exist.
One of these businesses is Grand Canyon Beverage Company. This coffee shop sits in the middle of campus, making it a hot spot for study sessions. Brennan Williams is a recent GCU grad and serves as general manager of the company.
So I think a coffee shop is such a great, unique area where we can really bridge GCU in the community.
And Grand Canyon Beverage Company isn't just on campus. They have a location in the neighborhood. As for local West Phoenix residents,
I noticed that the apartments look a lot better in the area of Grand Canyon University. Plus, the streets around it are a lot cleaner compared to how it was maybe 2 years ago.
GCU anticipates that these businesses will revitalize the West Phoenix neighborhood and bring the poverty level down.
This was at one point a middle-class neighborhood, and it deteriorated over time, but we are watching it transition even more quickly than it deteriorated.
The university also plans to start employing more people from the surrounding neighborhoods that aren't necessarily GCU grads or students in an effort to give the children of those employees free tuition to the university. Live in Phoenix, Danielle Kernkamp, Cronkite News.
That's it for this special edition of Cronkite News. For top Arizona stories anytime, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.